Hey everybody, welcome to our August boat shop update. Well, we're doing these more regularly now, so you won't see as much of a difference in between. I know y'all think we work really fast, but there's a lot of other things happening here. This guy, since last time, has been upside down and then right side up, so we've got a water line on it, which took a little bit of figuring from some photos. You can check out our Instagram page for, our Instagram feed, I guess, to see how we went about that. But we got a light coat of paint on it and turned it right side up. So the bottom's essentially done. We still have to do some top sides paint. We just put a light coat for starters, knowing that we're probably going to ding it up as we continue to build out the interior of this boat. So what we did, what we've started to do, is notch out the tops of the frames here for the inwale. So it's going to get a fairly heavy inwale on the inside, right up to the breast hook and back to the quarter knees. And then it'll get a cap, and this is all traditional to the Irish boat on which this was based or designed. We're copying that. So the cap's actually going to stick out a little ways, going to have a little bit of reveal on the outside, which will look like a rail, and the same on the inside, and be screwed down to the top of this hardwood shear plank. But it'll make it super rugged. I mean, it's already super rugged, but the inside's all been sanded. It's ready for some primer. We're going to get at that. Well, it's still all opened up. It doesn't make sense to do that after the fact because you're going to have to work around a lot of things. One thing of note here, and you can't really see it, is we poured pitch down in here. So up in the ends of the boat, you get these really tight, narrow spots that you can't ever get water out of, and so water, usually fresh water, sits in there permanently, can't drain back, can't get pumped out, and that's where you start to see problems with rot. So a pretty old-timey thing to do is to fill those spaces with pitch so that the water can't get down in there. It'll just run aft, and this is up to the level of these limbers, so the water will run out of there and then ideally be able to be pumped out. We did the same back here in these little tight spots. Right in the corners of these floor timbers creates another little spot where the water can sit, so we just poured a little bit of pitch back in there too to prevent that from happening. So ideally you should be able to get every last drop of water out of this boat, provided it sits in the water level. So next steps here will be to prime it, get these inwales put in. They're going to get riveted through everything. Which is a pretty great way to do it, and that's going to serve as, we don't have any fasteners in the top of this shear plank yet, so it's going to double as that fastener and the inwale fastener. It's a great way to do it. So that's what's happening here, and we'll next time you'll start to see some of the interior coming together. John's been cranking away on these Mohonks. So what's going on now, and it looks like he's already done it to some extent, but the timber cuts coming up here for the shear plank. Now, fairly typically on these boats, that would be quote-unquote up with the lap, meaning you carry, this is a standard bevel here, you carry the angle of that standard bevel up the frame, and then you take that material off. You do have to ensure, and we went over this in the last video, that these are all fair relative to each other. But back aft here, you can't go up with the lap, up with the gain, because that would bring the plank almost a little bit of tumble home, which would look kind of silly. So you actually have to either match this parallel or even be a little bit inside of it. Say the angle here is a little bit more vertical than that. You want to keep that same roll going aft. So the plank rolls in nice and fair. So this will be next. What we'll do is we'll get the shear plank on, and the way we spile these is we put the plank on. We have 3 measurements that we use, and I can, in a later video, I can go over our method of building from the notes that we have. But we get 3 measurements, and we'll put a batten around those, make a nice fair curve. And at that point, we actually put the plank back on the boat and transfer those marks to the frames, to the stem and the transom, and then we nail a batten on to check it out in real time and space to make sure that it actually looks good on the boat. If it does, we'll cut it and we'll match the other side. So that's the next process here. Now what do you want to talk about, Ann?
Let's see.
These little oyster boats?
Yeah.
So tonight we're having a little oyster fest outside, and we get to put one of our new little oyster boats to work. These guys here are, I'd say, a deviation from what we do. These are fiberglass. However, in the 70s, what this shop did, there was a company in town, Vedrani maybe, they were making fiberglass skiffs, like little tenders, and they were sending them here to the shop to get the wooden rails and such put on. So this is really no different. You got a fiberglass boat, we're putting trim and rails on this to make a nice oyster bar. So we're gonna put this to use tonight, see how it works. Should work pretty well. We're having these produced, so these will be available by order, special order. But we've already sent a few of these away to some actual beer companies to be used for their little oyster fest. But also, they can be made without this interior deck and be used almost like a cooler, like a serving cooler. You can put ice in them and beer in them and put it out. So if anybody wants a pretty kick-ass little dory cooler, let us know. We can make it. Outside here, we're setting up for an event tonight, our fifth annual Summer Oysters and Rosé Night. So a little bit different this year. We're going to have live music out on the dock, and Anna Daly Young is going to come play, and hopefully some boats will show up and anchor out and listen to her. And then on the lawn here, we'll have some raw bar, some cheese, and a lot of wine. But we do several of these events annually as fundraisers. And we do occasionally let others have their own parties here on a very limited basis because we do exist in a residential neighborhood and we need to be conscious of our neighbors and that they live here as well, especially on a Saturday night. Upcoming events, we're going to have a lobster bake in mid-September. So we'll put a big table on the lawn and cook up some lobsters and have all kinds of nibbles like that to celebrate, unfortunately, the end of summer. And might even have some lobsters from William, one of our apprentices in a burgeoning lobster. And then this Friday, coming up, well, end of the week, we have a program on the Schooner Adventure from 11 to 1, and that's going to be adults. Bring your kids, there's plenty of room. So there's a fee for the adults, but the kids under 16 are able to come for free. It'll be a 2-hour sail on the Schooner Adventure. And the Schooner Adventure is a historic fishing schooner that used to carry dories that were built here. So there's very much a connection there. And my good friend J.B. Smith is going to be running the boat. So we have several events here over the course of the year. And the best way to find out what's going on is to sign up for our email list, because we email everybody all the time. Members especially, like for tickets tonight, tickets for other events, members get first crack at them and a 10% discount. So sign up to be a member. That is your best way to learn about events. But if you don't want to do that, you can just sign up for our email list and you'll get email blasts about classes, events, everything that's happening here, even a link to these videos when they come out. So coming to these events supports this place and our mission, which is to preserve and perpetuate the art and craft of wooden boat building and to teach kids basically how to do this. And we do that year-round as well. As a working museum, Lowell's builds boats. We also have a historic museum in the basement. And so when you come to our museum, it's like other museums in that you're going to see interesting artifacts that you may never have seen before. But what you're really doing is you're supporting this community, and it is a community here. It's been growing steadily over the past 10 years and continues to grow, and we would love for you to be part of that community. And that really just takes you walking in the door and signing up. You want to take a hair off of that on the planer, make it nice and clean. I don't know. Hold on, what's the other side look like? Looks like we've worn them inside and outside and backwards and forwards. Yeah. And you're gonna make me a star.
Yep.
We're on? Is this our September one or our August one? Okay. August video update. August tour. Yeah. Or a tour of what's happening.
Yeah.
Boat shop update.
Boat shop update.
Okay.
I think that's what I've been calling them.
Great. All right. Hey everybody, welcome to our August boat shop update. Well, we're doing these more regularly.